Welcome to Luxury World. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. The first timepiece to reach the moon. A famous James Bond model, JFK and Mikhail Gorbachev wore it for their respective inaugurations, while Mao Zedong wore it for 31 years. A mechanical mechanism developed by the best watchmaker of the 20th century. The only brand that can fully compete with and in certain cases outperform Rolex, with some of the world's most precise timepieces serving as the official timekeeper for the Olympic Games. This is Omega, one of the most prestigious Swiss watch manufacturers of all time. Watchmaker Omega SA is situated in Biel or Bienne, Switzerland, and produces high-end Swiss timepieces. Omega watches were utilized by the British Royal Flying Corps and the United States Army in 1917 and 1918 respectively for their combat regiments. For the 1969 Apollo 11 mission, NASA selected Omega watches. Since 1932, Omega has also served as the Olympics' official timekeeper. Aside from being an official timekeeper of America's Cup Yacht race, Omega is also a major sponsor of the 2022 Winter Olympics. Now in this week's video, the Luxury Channel will go through some of Omega's newest releases for the year 2022. Stick with us as we get to know each model better, particularly the good and bad features of each of them. But before anything else, don't forget to click the subscribe button to receive updates on our newest videos. First on the list is Omega's Planet Ocean Ultra Deep. A few years ago, Rolex and a well-known director of films such as Avatar and Avatar 2 descended to the bottom of the Mariana Trench in a submarine while wearing a Rolex Deep Sea Challenge Special Edition with a gradient blue dial. In terms of depth rating, it was the deepest dive watch ever. When it comes to diving watches, Omega and Rolex have long been competing for supremacy, so Omega decided to make its own watch, the Planet Ocean, which traveled to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, which was only a hair deeper than the Challenge ever did. Through this Planet Ocean Deep watch by Omega, it's now possible to buy a watch that can descend to 6,000 meters on the seafloor. Do you think that's a decent bargain for what you're getting at a little over 10,000 pounds? Furthermore, although the caliber 8912 self-winding movement is capable of a whopping 60 hours of power reserve and has a magnetic resistance of 15,000 gals thanks to the silicon components it contains, the watch's massive thickness is what actually makes this possible. This beefy-looking item measures 45 millimeters in diameter and is exceptionally thick for anything of its size. If you visit Omega's wrist checker on their website, there are some intriguing things going on. It's not just a big watch that can go really deep. This timepiece has lacquered dials, white ceramic lacquer dials, smoky patterns, and gradated dials from blue to black, which is quite interesting. Additionally, the orangey-red ceramic bezel is a pretty attractive hue and has that type of caution alert. The feeling that you're about to embark on a very risky undertaking involves the usage of a piece of gear intended just for emergency situations. There are two types. One is made of steel, while the other is plated with titanium. Planet Ocean's manta ray lugs, on the other hand, seem to be based more on the original notion of Planet Ocean. The 2D FXD has fixed lugs, making it impossible to lose the strap. But this is unusual enough that it merits a separate discussion. Second on the list is the Omega Steel Seamaster. It's a new material in Omega's crafting station, and the result of an inventive pressure electroslag remelting process that provides the material a high purity, allowing for a better polish and unrivaled luster. It's a really complex and intriguing watch, and a great start for this year's Omega watch collection. There's a green Seamaster that is pretty muddy, grassy green, and a little bit murky, but we have yet to see photographs of it on someone's wrist, because so far, Omega's only supplied studio product shots. The bezels of this green Seamaster watch have a shiny, iridescent gloss to them when they catch the light. Meanwhile, the new Seamaster Aquaterra Oyster Perpetual Edition has 5 other colors if you don't like this green Seamaster. Aquaterra's latest lines come in 2 sizes. Diamond markers and a trapezoidal date window at 6 are found in the 38mm range, while the dials are brushed and lacquered in bright hues. Colors include Atlantic blue, bay green, saffron, sandstone, and terracotta to name just a few. The last 3 are light brown, brown, and red. However, it appears that if you click on the product sites for each of those final three, you can see that the light brown one is actually white. When you click on the red one, it says the dial is brown. But when you click on the brown one, it says the dial is yellow. In the 34mm range, the hands and markers are made of 18-karat white gold, and the markers are supposedly shaped to mimic sailboat holes. The date window is likewise rounded, and the sunbrush dials are available in 5 pastel hues: sea blue, lagoon green, sandstone, white shell, pink, and lavender. Now, let's talk about the pricing. Omega is offering a lower price of a little less than £5,500 for the 38mm variant, which puts it in the same ballpark as Rolex's Oyster Perpetual. But except presumably that you'll be able to buy these watches in person, unlike the Oyster Perpetual. The Omega Steel Seamaster are beautiful timepieces that aren't really innovative, but let us all hope they sell since they will be of great quality, readily available, and offered in a variety of attractive hues. Next up is the Canopus Speedmaster, which is a color variation in the carat gold moonshine dial or PVD green dial. So you get gold on gold or green on gold, which is another occurrence of the murky green hue seen on the Seamaster. This watch is of an 18-karat gold dial with ceramic bezels and a solid gold tachymeter scale. There are black-coated hands and markers and sub-dials on the black dial, and the green dial is a PVD green step dial with a green ceramic bezel, Sarah Grove tachymeter scale, and 18-karat gold moonshine hands, so it has a very elegant appearance. Designed to evoke the glow of a full moon against a dark night sky, this unique alloy will make a statement on your wrist. It has a great, amazing lunar strap. But have you noticed that the rubber strap has a wonderful lunar surface design on the inside? Yes, indeed it does. However, these straps are also something that Rolex has already done before. So technically, this watch is a perfect example of Omega being the Rolex without the long queue. This is perfect for people who can't be bothered with the hype and just wants quality watches that are beautifully made using in-house materials. The Moonwatch Moonshine Gold isn't the only Speedmaster released this year, as Omega has also upgraded the 1957 re-edition, which is the next one we'll be discussing in this series of Omega watches. This is a little confusing because it's always been the modern version of the Speedmaster with an automatic movement, but it takes cues from the 1957 Speedmaster, which was the original and from which the Moonwatch evolved. For example, the broad arrow hands and silver bezel from the original were changed for the Moonwatch, which also have a movement that gives you a two-handed chronograph display on the right-hand subdial to make the subdials smaller. This year, they made it thinner. It's always been quite a thick watch, but it's now thinner by just under 13mm. They did this by taking the caliber 9900 and cutting off the automatic winding rotor. This means that the Speedmaster 57, like the Moonwatch we were just looking at, is now also a manually wound watch, which is interesting, but doesn't leave you with many options if you want an automatic Speedmaster watch. People who desired the Speedmaster but did not want to go the whole heritage path of the Moonwatch with manual winding and all of that other stuff could have this watch instead, which has a power reserve of 60 hours. One of the main complaints about this watch was that it was too thick, since 13mm isn't very thin. To make it thinner, they had to get rid of some of the movement, which was an interesting idea. Due to this, it's worth noting that maybe Rolex will make a hand-wound watch, or maybe Tudor will make a hand-wound version of their Black Bay 58 chronograph. We'll have to wait and see. This watch comes in RGB colorways. The new dial colors come in a PVD blue-green and varnished burgundy. To round off the list, we have Omega's very own Constellation timepiece. This new 41mm Constellation, which has a ceramic bezel in blue and white, as well as a smoky green and smoky red color scheme, is most certainly the star of the show. There are steel and gold versions with red lacquered and green dials, as well as a gray rhodium dial. Then, there's a 28mm steel version in all your favorite pastel hues, like pink, purple, green, and blue as well. The most interesting ones from the Constellations are the ones with the aventurine dials that are 29mm in diameter and made of 18-karat Sedna gold. Again, there's an RGB thing going on here, and the good news is that they got the colors right this time. Also, The white ceramic markers on the 41mm blue bezel version are made with a grand white enamel, an interesting historical process in which glass beads are fired in a very hot furnace and melt down, creating a very bright white uniform shiny finish that you probably won't notice right away. But it's just a nice little extra touch for the watch. As we conclude this video, Luxury Channel hopes that this video has provided you with a better understanding of the newest Omega watches on the market this year. Please let us know what you think of this video in the comment section below. And please don't forget to smash the like button and hit subscribe if you want to be the first to learn about the next amazing luxury item. See you in the next video.